Hello my dear amazing learners, welcome back to FreeHit. I am Nisha, University Gold Medalist, your biology tutor. So today we'll start with the fresh lesson, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, so this is the first lesson of class 12th biology. Okay, class 12th biology, this is the first lesson. Okay, and remember this is very important lesson also. The lesson is quite lengthy. It takes a lot of pages, but I'll make sure you're able to understand and get the most important concepts from the exam, that is NEET exam perspective. Okay, so we'll just make sure, though the lesson is big, we can make sure we can condense the concepts and make sure you get all the points, right, which is important for NEET. But if you read this, you can, what kind of questions you can get, like example based questions, you can get example questions, you can get conceptual questions, so sometimes straight out of NCERT concepts you can get, and you can also expect assertion questions and statement questions. So these are the different type of questions that you can expect. Since the lesson is large, you can also expect a little more number of questions. Okay, so just remember this is one of the important lessons in class 12th of biology. So please put some more attention in this lesson, though you don't like botany or something. Okay, give some importance to this lesson. Without any delay, let's get into the syllabus. What NEET 2025 syllabus says you to read from NCERT. Okay, so let's look at it. First, what they're saying, sexual reproduction in flowering plant, the whole title. Give me a minute, let me change this. Okay, is it clear? Yeah. Sexual reproduction in flowering plant, you have to study the flower structure. Oh, so you should be studying the flower structure. So right from your like 6th, 7th standard, you'll be studying the flower structure. So that you'll be studying here. Then development of male and female gametophytes. What is gametophyte? Gametophyte is the haploid plant body, but in angiosperms the haploid is highly reduced, and you will basically study what these male and female gametophytes are and how they play a very significant role. So that you will be studying. And the next is pollination. What is basically pollination? It is the transfer. Pollination is basically what? Transfer of pollen from anther to stigma. From anther to stigma. So this is known as pollination. What are the types of pollination? By which means the pollen grains get transferred? By which agencies? What are agencies? Support of. Okay, whether the water supports the transfer or the wind supports the transfer or animals. So based on that we are classifying them, and we are also going to give examples for each kind. So this is also some important places. From here you can expect assertion reason questions, okay, from pollination perspective. Then outbreeding devices. What is outbreeding? So in order to understand outbreeding, let's understand inbreeding. So I'm just giving you an overview. As we move into the text, you will get more in-depth details. So outbreeding is something that prevents breeding with oneself. Okay, breeding with the same plant. So it has to breed with other plants. So in order to achieve that, what are the mechanisms that the plant adopts? So on the first place, why should a plant adopt or prevent inbreeding? Okay, why it shouldn't breed with itself, why it shouldn't. If you understand that, you will understand why the plant is doing so many things to prevent that. Okay, then so the concepts that come under it is pollen pistil interaction, then double fertilization, post fertilization events, what happens after fertilization happens, so how does the endosperm form, embryo form, and all those things you'll be studying in this third objective or the third impact this lesson has. Then next is development of seed. Of course, fertilization will result in the formation of embryo, and then embryo will be present inside this seed. Seed will be present inside the fruit. Okay, these things will be studied. And this is something called regular fertilization, regular seed fruit formation. There will be some special cases, we call it exceptions, where there it doesn't adopt a normal mechanism, but yes, it still forms fruits, it still forms seed, but doesn't follow a normal mechanism. So those unique guys will be coming under the special modes. They are like apomixis, parthenocarpy, polyembryony. I'll break this all the terms, all the jargons for you. Don't worry, I'll break down all these words. Then significance of seed. Why is seed forming? Why is fruit forming? Everything we'll be looking at in this lesson. Okay. So next we'll get into the lessons in introduction, very basic introduction. Organisms die. Yes, we human beings are born. So these kind of words are very important. You do not know where NTA can use it. Organisms will die. For example, if I say Homo sapiens is a species, right? Let me take a person who is named as Y. Okay? This Y may be born and may also die. But can you say this organism, just because Y is born and Y is dead, Homo sapien is also dead? Can you say that? No. So the organisms can be born and also die, but it doesn't mean that the species lives or dies. Okay, it just continues over millions of years of age. Okay, millions of years. So an individual organism can be born and also can undergo death, but a species cannot be born or undergo death in a single generation. It requires multitude of generations. Okay, so we'll study through millions of years unless threatened. So as long as you do not disturb this, just like Newton's first law of motion, what does it say? Everything remains as such unless disturbed by external force. Okay. Similarly here, if you do not disturb these guys, these Homo sapiens, if you do not disturb, what will happen? They will live like longer they can. In case you are threatening them by natural, so it can be natural. Say for example, tsunami comes over. Okay, so you would have seen in some movies like 2012, they told that is the last day of life on earth. There will be large number of natural calamities and every life will be over. Okay, there was a movie based on that also. So, what they'll be discussing there, a complete cleansing of the earth with a lot of natural calamities. If such a natural event occurs, then Homo sapiens will not be there obviously. Every species that's been created will be destroyed. Okay, and the species will be wiped off as a whole. That is the natural cause. What is anthropogenic? Human-induced cause are known as anthropogenic. Maybe a nuclear disaster, okay? Maybe man-made or human poisoning of water and atmosphere, the pollutions that we cause, all those things. If something is disturbing this, then not only the organism, even the species can be destroyed. If not, species continues for millions of years. So that is the takeaway message of this slide. Next, reproduction becomes a vital process. Then I told you, what I told you, organisms can be born and they can also undergo death. But what I told, species will not be facing this. Okay? How did they not face death? Because of the vital process. What is vital? Important. So because of the important process, reproduction. So reproduction is production of another offspring. For example, say, if I say for Y is born and Y creates X and O, and then Y dies. So it means the organism is dead, but X and O will be alive. Think from species perspective. Y is Homo sapiens, so its offspring is also Homo sapiens. So though the organism dies, the species continues. So that's what we are trying to achieve in the first line. Okay, so we can survive for quite a long period of time. So biology, if you say simply, is the story of life on earth. Okay, biology is basically what? Story of life that's happening on earth. Okay, so we saw it, no, each individual. Now we saw X or Y. It leaves its progeny by what and all methods? Asexual method or sexual means. By different forms, they can undergo reproduction and they can leave the offsprings. Okay, and that's how the species lives. Next, sexual mode. So of these two, there are two methods we have just mentioned. One is sexual. Okay, so in sexual, what is the uniqueness you should understand? In sexualness, both male and female is involved. In asexual, a plant or animal's vegetative body is only involved. Okay, In such case, since we combine two kind of gender, we have two different genetic material, we mix it up, so what happened? Variation arises. Okay, but in second case, since only one individual is involved, there is no variation. Okay, so what we say, sexual mode of reproduction enables, because of two different individuals presence, we can see a lot of variation coming up. But in second case, in asexual, since only one parent is involved, there is not much variation. Okay, so it will give you a survival advantage, because variation can give you a character that helps you withstand an unfavorable condition. So that organism will survive and the other one will not survive. So it is important to understand, species can not die, it can continue for millions of years, organism can die. Species can continue because of reproduction. Reproduction occurs either by sexual or asexual. Asexual introduces variation, asexual does not introduce variation, sexual reproduction introduces variation. Variation is important in the long-term survival of a species, right? I hope we are on the same. Okay, next we'll be looking at an important personality, Panchanan Maheshwari. Now he is born from, don't get confused with the word Maheshwari. The person we are talking about, the scientist, the eminent botanist we are talking about, is a man. Okay, Panchanan Maheshwari. He was born in 1904 and he lived till 1966. Okay, where was he born? In 1904. 1904, he was born in Jaipur, Rajasthan, and he is a very distinguished botanist. So he studied plant biology. And then next he moved to Allahabad for his higher education, and there he obtained his DSc degree. So you know BSc, MSc, what is this DSc? Okay, what is DSc? DSc is Doctoral of Science, which is even more than PhD. Okay, it is like postdoctoral. So he went to Allahabad where he secured his DSc degree, and that's where a lot of stuffs happened for him. Okay, so there when he was doing his college, he was impressed by, okay, was impressed by, inspired by this Dajion. He's an American machinery teacher. So it was like, a period where we had a lot of people from out of the country teaching inside country people. Okay, so that time he met a professor or a teacher, Dajion, and he was interested in his teaching methods, inspired him to work towards botany and especially in morphology. What is morphology? Morphology is study of appearance of plants. Okay, since he is a botanist, of course, he would have studied the appearance of plants. So that he did. And then in the plant biology, he worked on the embryological aspects. Just now I told you, because of fertilization, embryo forms. And he studied about that embryo, right? And popularized the use of embryological characters in taxonomy. Okay, so embryo is very small. Extracting characters from embryo is quite hard. But Panchanan Maheshwari made that possible. He extracted characters from that and he used it in classifying the organisms. Okay, so it is very important. He studied embryology and he used it in plant taxonomical classification. It's very important. Okay, so okay. So his professor, his teacher, Dachian, once told when he was there, what he told was that he would be very happy if his students work ahead of him. Like if he has achieved 80% of the race, if his student achieves 90%, he'll be very happy. That also instilled a curiosity that motivated this person to work a lot in this field, embryology, for very simply. Okay, and the one more unique thing is he also offered, it was also offered FRS, Fellow of Royal Society. Ramanujam is also an FRS. So like this is one of the highly distinguished fellowship that is offered to the scientist, and Panchanan Maheshwari is one person to be granted that FRS. Okay, then he established, so what then he did, he created things. He created Department of Botany in University of Delhi, an important center for research in embryology and tissue culture. So till now it is continuing. in University of Delhi, they are doing this embryological and tissue culture research, which was being created or led foundation by Panchan and Maheshwari way back in like 1940s, 50s, like that. Okay, so this is his picture. So you can find it from NCERT. Now let's see. He emphasized the need for initiation of work on artificial culture of immature embryos. Okay, so immature embryos is like, I mean, if an embryo takes like 1 month, we'll be taking it midway or somewhere around 75% of development. So those immature environments, I mean embryos, will be created the necessary nutrients in lab environment. That is important. So we take the embryo from the plant, okay, we give the necessary conditions for it to grow in artificial environment in labs, and we make them develop into a plant or a tissue. Okay, that's his idea. These days tissue culture has become a landmark in science, because with tissue culture, like literally anything is possible. You can literally make, with a patch of tissue, you can generate the entire plant. That's the beauty of tissue culture. And lot of the banana plantations that you see around, okay, most of them have been constructed by using this tissue culture method. Okay, his work on test tube fertilization. Okay, just remember one thing. So in test tubes, we'll call it in vitro, right? In vitro fertilization, that one. And intra-ovarian pollination within the ovary. So pollination is what I told you, transfer from stigma, sorry, anther to stigma. But what he is doing, not to stigma, directly to the ovary. That kind of pollination won worldwide acclaim. So it was like, it was so unique, it was so interesting for scientists to read. That didn't happen normally. Okay, and next, encourage general education. So general education is like setting up common platform for everybody around the nation, and significant contribution to school education by his leadership is bringing out the very first textbooks of biology. So you can see the ancient textbooks that NCERT used, okay, way back in 1964. Okay, so just imagine 2 years before his death. He lived around 60, 62 years of age, and almost at 60 years of age, what is he doing? He's prescribing a book for biology for NCERT. Okay, so at 60 years of age, if we can be still active and doing that, so we have a lot of time, a lot of energy to work on. Okay, so you all can crack NEET 2025. Just remember that and put all of your hard work in that, right? So have this person as an inspiration. This is the main reason why I always talk about scientists. They're always inspiring. Okay. Now let's get into the lesson. It is, yeah. Are we not lucky that plants reproduce sexually? Are we not lucky? Why that question is there in NCERT? If plants reproduce sexually, it's going to produce flowers, fruits. Aren't flowers beautiful? So we use flowers for a variety of ranges. Okay, we use flowers for beauty purposes, for extracting essential oils, for making fragrances, for decorating the homes. We use it for n number of purposes. Is that true or not? Yes. And just because plants produce sexually, we have different colors of plants because they adopt variation. We have different types of flowers, size, everything. Then the myriads of flowers, that is the variety of flowers that we are gazing at, the scents, the perfumes that we swoon over, the rich colors that attract us, are all these an aid to sexual reproduction. So everything that you see in a flower, why is a flower so colorful, why it's more fragrant, why it is so attractive? Everything is not to attract you, obviously. Everything is to attract whom? Beautiful pollinators who are going to help in the aid of fertilizing the ovary and the egg and forming the embryo and fruit. Yes, so that is the main reason why the flowers are so fragrant, so colorful, everything. Next, flowers do not exist only for us to be used for our own selfishness. Okay, it's not just for us, because it is not created for us. It was created for its own purpose. So that's why they mentioned all flowering plants, so sexual reproduction. They'll be demonstrating this. And when you see about their inflorescence, flowers, so you will be getting to know about lot of flowers. that has developed an adaptation to ensure proper fertilization. That is so beautiful to study. Okay, it's a very beautiful science. Flower science is beautiful science. Inflorescence, flowers and floral plants show an amazing range of adaptation to ensure formation of the end products of sexual reproduction, fruits and seeds. It's also very important. Okay. Finally, we'll be looking at the morphology, the structure and the complete process of sexual reproduction. We are focusing only on angiosperms. Why? So why are you only focusing on angiosperms? Angiosperms only produce flowers. Okay, remember, endosperms don't produce them, or bryophyte, pteridophyte or alga for any reason. Only the angiosperms will be producing the flowering plants. Fine. Now, let's look at the basic, the simplest diagram that we commonly use whenever you study a diagram. Okay, make sure you either study from bottom to top or top to bottom. You set a pattern and follow it. So that's how you study diagrams. So this is not like a routine, like you should not do this mistake. Using the same principle to study everything. Okay, some of the diagrams have to be studied from bottom to top. Something has to be studied from top to bottom. Something from left to right and other things from right to left. So mostly I will be telling this and doing that. So we can stick to that. But if you are doing this for the first time on a very different diagram, you should understand the principle. Okay, you should understand what are you trying to understand from the diagram. What are you trying to understand will make you fix the direction of study. Okay, so here I'm going to study about the parts of flower. Okay, when I study about parts of flower, I'm going to study all these parts. Okay, and what is the common point they have? The point of attachment. So Arun, this is the point from where everything emerges. So I choose to study from bottom to top. Okay, so first let me do this. The bottommost portion where everything starts, I call them thalamus. Thalamus or receptacle. Okay, the bottommost portion from which everything is attached. It's like a seat, a crown where everything rises from. Okay, it is a throne. And the first most thing that comes out is the sepal. Okay, first thing that comes out is sepal. Then the second thing that comes out is a petal. These are petals. Mostly sepals are green, but there are also sepals which are colorful. So you cannot, this is mostly. Whatever I am saying here is kind of mostly. There will be exceptions. Petals are colored, large. Okay, that happens. Then thirdly, whom do we have? Anther. Anther is the male reproductive organ, and anther will be, of course, sorry, top portion is anther. The complete structure that I am discussing about is stamen. So that's what I was about to say. Okay, complete stuff. Anther plus filament we call stamen, and in stamen we have two parts. One is anther and the other one is filament. Okay, these are the two important parts. And then finally we have the female reproductive part. Okay, female reproductive part we call it as gynoecium. Here you can say andrecium. In gynoecium we have three important part. Bottom is ovary. This is where egg is going to stay. Then style, this long tube-like projection, and at the top stigma. So this is very, very important. Okay, let me put it again. This is receptacle. This basal portion is receptacle or thalamus. Okay, this is sepal. Then we have petal, and this complete structure we call it as androecium. Androecium is male reproductive part. Androecium has two parts. One is filament and the other one is anther. So first we'll be studying about the male reproductive parts of flower, and then we'll study the female reproductive parts. And then here, this structure, this is called as gynoecium. Well, let me put up a diagram separately. I think it will help you to understand better. This is anther, this is filament, this together is stamen. And I'll do the same for gynoecium. Classical diagram that you study. This is ovary, this is style, and this is the stigma. Stigma is usually the receptor. Fine. So this is the overview of the parts of flower, and then we'll study about why there are different parts, what are the function of different parts first. So before, you should understand one thing. It's not much directly connected, but still it's good to know. When you see a vegetative part of a flower, vegetative flower plant, there'll be like leaf all around. Right? Is this how a plant will be in its vegetative phase? And then at some point of time, after achieving all the required characters, first the decision that a flower has to be made on this tip will be made. Okay? And then there will be shoot apical meristem. This shoot apical meristem will be converted into floral meristem. FM. Okay? Shoot apical meristem is the meristem that is present at the tip of the shoot. That will gradually get converted into floral meristem, and that floral meristem will give rise to the floral primordia, and floral primordia will give rise to the flower. Okay, so before you see a flower, a lot of things, okay, will happen that will decide that a flower is going to come up. Okay, so that will be taking place, and during this structural meristem, apical meristem, there will be several hormonal changes and as well as structural changes, because a shoot will never look like a flower. So there will be a lot of hormonal changes, structural changes, developmental changes, and everything will be going around. Okay, inflorescence are formed after floral meristem. We have floral primordia, and after this we have this inflorescence or flower formation based on the plant we are discussing. A form which bear the floral buds, which then will be having flowers. Right? In the flower, we have male reproductive structures, female reproductive structures. Just now we saw in the diagram. It was male as well as female. Male is referred to as androecium, female is referred to as gynoecium, respectively. And then in androecium, we have whorl of stamens. We saw a large number of stamens. Okay, that is male reproductive organ. In gynoecium, in the flower, we saw there was only one style stigma ovary. There are flowers which has more than one style stigma ovary. There also we can say whorl of carpels. Okay, here we use stamen, but for this we use the word carpel. So if I say for androecium, it is whorl of stamen. For gynoecium, I will say whorl of carpels. Right? There will be a lot of style stigma of ovary in the same flower. So it changes from the type of plant we study, the family we study. Okay, most basically this will help. Okay, so based on this understanding, next we look at specifically the male reproductive organs, what are the organs and how it is formed. Okay, we'll look at it in the next video. Thank you for watching. Happy learning. See you in the next video. Bye.